Perek Beis, Mishna Yud Beis. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Yehi moman chaverach chovev alecha keshalach. V'hasken atzmach lilmod Torah, she'enu Yerushalach. V'chol ma'asecha yiu l'shem shamayim. Rabbi Yossi is telling us that you have to apply yourself to learn Torah. It's not a Yerusha, it's not an inheritance. It's not going to come automatically. You have to apply yourself, learn diligently, prepare yourself. It's not something that's automatic, and even a person, even if he's blessed to have a father as a Talmud Chacham, a grandfather, even if he has the greatest yichus, but hasken ascha, you have to apply yourself, you have to learn diligently b'hasmana, because it's not going to come automatically. And the question arises, the very first thing we teach a child when we initiate him into Limud HaTorah, Torah tziva lanu Moshe Moirasha Kehilas Yaakov. The Torah was given to us, commanded to us by Moshe Rabbeinu. It is a Moirasha Kehilas Yaakov. It's our inheritance. This is our inheritance. This is our legacy. This belongs to us. Doesn't this contradict what Rav Yossi is saying? She'eni Yerushalach. Torah is our Yerusha. Torah is our inheritance. One answer given is, it is a Yerusha for Klal Yisrael. It is an inheritance for Klal Yisrael. But Eini Yerushalach, for you as an individual, for you as a Yochid, there's no guarantee that you will have that chelik in Torah. It's an inheritance, it's a Moirasha for Kehilas Yaakov, but for you as an individual, as a Yochid, Hasken Atzmach, you have to prepare yourself, because there's no guarantee. Even if you have the greatest yichus, there's no guarantee that you will be Zeicha to Torah. But perhaps another explanation is as follows. The Gemara tells us, Chochma b'goyim tamin. If they tell you that there is Chochma, there's all kinds of Chochma amongst the nations, believe that. The nations, they have Chochma. They have great Chochma, they have great advances in all fields. There's great Chochma amongst the Goyim. But Torah b'goyim al tamin. If they tell you that there's Torah, that they have Torah, don't believe it. They don't have Torah. What's the difference between Torah and Chochma? Isn't Torah Chochma? Isn't the Torah the greatest Chochma? It requires the greatest intellect. But the Mefarshim explain, the Maral, the Cherushei Arim, in various different ideas and applications of it, that they have Chochma. But they don't have Chochma Selakim. They have the Chochma of the intellect, but not Chochma's Halev. They have Chochma, but they cannot be connected to the Or Hagonus. They cannot be connected to that hidden light, the light of the Torah. Torah is not only Chochma. And if a person learns only as an intellectual exercise, he does not connect himself to the Kedusha of the Torah. This is Torah Selakim. And he does not have the power to transform himself. The transformative power comes from learning the Torah Selakim, to connect ourselves, to mechaber ourselves with Kedusha of Torah, the Taras of Torah. That is and belongs exclusively to Klal Yisrael. That's our Moirasha Kehilas Yaakov. That belongs to us and only to us. And the Ummais, with the greatest Chochmah that they may have, in all fields and all endeavors. But it's not the Kedushas of Torah. It's not transformative. There's no chibur to the Or Hagonus, to Chochmas Elokim. That belongs only to us. Rav Yossi is saying that you, as a person, as a Yochid, Hasken asmach lilmad Torah, you have to apply yourself diligent. Torah requires effort, requires yigiyah, v'omal v'yigiyah. Torah is a Yerusha. But that's something else. That means that if you learn Torah, and if you apply yourself, and you're hasken asmach lilmad Torah, then you can tap into that unique Yerusha that's Meirasha Kilas Yaakov. There's no guarantee for Limud Torah. It comes with Omal V'Yagiyah and learning. But we have a Yerusha. Our Meirasha is that if we do learn that, we have the exclusive right to be connected with the Or Hagonos that the other nations don't have. And even if they learn Torah, and even if they learn diligently, and even they apply themselves to it, they don't have that Meirasha. It doesn't mean that we don't have to learn, work hard at it, that it'll come automatically. That's not the Meirasha we're talking about. That's not the Yerusha we're talking about. Of course, we have to learn diligently, apply ourselves wholeheartedly. But if we do, and if we learn the Shema, that only Klal Yisrael will be able to connect ourselves, mechaber ourselves with the Kedushas HaTorah. The Kedushas HaTorah, the Or Hagonos, the transformative powers of Torah, to be malars, of elevate ourselves, so that we can be connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom. That applies. That's our Meirasha. That's Meirasha Kilas Yaakov. The story is told by one of the great professors, the Umas HaOlam, an expert in Aramaic. He was one of the world's leading experts in Aramaic. He happened to encounter several yeshiva bachrim who were learning Gemara, and he listened to them as they were learning the Gemara, and he stopped and interrupted them, and he said, I happen to notice that you're learning the Talmud, and Aramaic fascinates me. And then he started asking them several questions in Aramaic and grammar and diction, vocabulary, one question after another. They couldn't answer, not one question, not the second, not the third, not the fourth. They couldn't answer any of his questions until he cried out in frustration. And he said, you, learning the Talmud in Aramaic, you're ignorant. You're ignorant of Aramaic. I am one of the world's leading experts on the language in Aramaic, and you know nothing about Aramaic. So explain this to me. How is it that you're able to learn the Talmud and understand it and enjoy it, even though you are not experts in Aramaic, you're ignorant in Aramaic? And I, one of the world's leading experts in this language, I cannot make heads or tails of the Talmud. Please explain this to me. And the answer is that he was not at Har Sinai. His forefathers did not say Nasa v'Nishma. And he did not have the Meirasha Kilas Yaakov. In a similar vein, the Mechaber Weissmantel Zatzal used to say over that there was one of the brilliant scholars in Oxford. He was called Professor Cawley. Professor Cawley, a brilliant genius in Oxford University. And they say that he knew the Gemara backwards and forwards. And if you'd ask him any question, he'd tell you, even a question on Taisvis, he'd tell you exactly which daf, where it is. He was a baki in the Gemara. He could quote verbatim and answer your questions even from Taisvis. So, did he learn Torah? Was he Torah B'Goyim? How do we understand this and reconcile this with Torah B'Goyim Al Tamid? So he answered, no, he certainly did not learn Torah. He was not learning Torah. That was an intellectual exercise, and he was a brilliant person. And he knew what the Gemara said, and what Rashi said, and what Tosfos said, But he didn't learn Gemara. And the proof is, the rai is that he was never mechadish one chiddush in his entire life. He was studying the Talmud, but he wasn't learning Torah. Hasken atzmach lilmad Torah. We have to apply ourselves with omal and yagia, with all our effort. But when we do, the Torah, this is Armai Rosha, Marosha Kilas Yaakov. Hasken atzmach lilmad Torah she'ena Yerusha loch. It will not come automatically. It will not come without great effort. But if we put that great effort, if we put the omal v'yagia, it is my Rosha Kilas Yaakov, and will be zeicha to the Or HaGonos in the Torah.